All right. Well, we've now got a critical mass. And tonight we've got no one to introduce. I think everybody here has already been here. So we are recording. So does anyone want to take us out and tell us what they've been doing other than being locked down for the last 30 days?
Building a workshop.
For 60 days.
It's
not everyone's locked down.
Now, Alan, everybody who's trying to talk, you're muted. So,
sorry, just unmuted myself.
So what have we been doing for the last 30 days, guys? I'll jump in if nobody else does.
I've been building the workshop I'm currently sitting in. I don't know how much of it you can see from...
Oh, wow.
Let me... Whoops.
Oh, that's great, man.
It gets tools at the end of this month. So I'm getting a laser cutter, a lathe, a mill, and a lot of spanners and stuff.
Is that for the really big iron you're going to get in there?
Yeah. Actually, I have a server cabinet in here that I wasn't planning to use, but I've run fiber to it. I decided I'll use it. I've got a Win2K box that I'm using to ghost some really old ThinkPads.
Okay. So is this going to be for actual work or for computers?
It's a combination of me working on my old computers outside the office in the house because I keep tripping over them, along with other various construction things.
Awesome.
And
you're gonna have to take some photos and show us your progress.
I've probably got about 400 photos on my phone. But one of the first projects I'll be finishing off when this place is done eventually is the Doomed ATM, which is an ATM which I converted into a Doom arcade machine.
You are kidding me. Is it in the room right now?
Half of it's on the other side of this front wall, and the frame of it's out there. But if I aim the Mac right, I actually own 2 ATMs.
As you do.
The one up in the corner, if you have a look in the very corner where the roof light is, you'll see my jukebox ATM. Actually, hang on. It's up there.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, the other one's currently a little buried out in the front section because I've got a section for doing mechanical stuff that doesn't have carpet and nice walls.
I hope when you bought it that they gave you free shipping.
When the ATMs were bought, that was Grays Online, so they were $9 each, and they were pick up yourself.
$9.
Yeah. I used to have the because it was a friend of mine, a late friend of mine, that originally got them, and we discovered very early on 2 things. 1, they're really heavy, and 2, I fit in the money safe.
Wow.
They're quite roomy, but we actually did work out how to make quite a few things work on them. But I have a teardown video somewhere when I pulled apart the pin pad.
Huh.
Those things are probably the best security I've seen. Like 30 layers of flexible PCB all around the main board. And if anything happens to that flex, it erases all the security keys, all the encryption keys off the keypad.
Yeah, they'd definitely be high tech. How much does each of them weigh?
The ATMs, the top half is probably, I don't know, 50, 60 kilos, but the safe was about 400.
Yeah, because everyone's seen it. Maybe every 6 months, some, enterprising druggie tries to chain one to their ute and steal it, and it never ends good. They're, as well as being bolted and cemented down for the most part, they also weigh a ton. So it's just going to pull the tow bar straight off the 4-wheel drive.
Or in the case of someone that tried it in Cranbourne, which is where I used to live, the person that left the entire tray of their tow truck behind.
Yeah, Cranbourne.
And usually the number plate as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the tray definitely came off with it.
Hmm.
Very good. So is that all you've been doing? Is just the workshop stuff? No interesting acquisitions or?
I just recently finished testing a couple think pads. I've fixed a compact LTE Elite 486. Unfortunately, the floppy drive in it's so far out of alignment that I'm not even going there. But I found a donor floppy drive in an old boring Pentium 4 laptop that I stole, did some modification, and it actually now fits in the battery bank. Because batteries are, apart from that, not an awful lot.
Cool.
I did recently get on eBay a copy of Pascal, so I'm going to teach myself a new programming language.
Oh, cool.
As you do. I'll go next. I'll go a boring story. It's not a boring story, but I'm a boring storyteller. So my story will probably come out rather boring.
Yeah.
So back in the 90s, I used to go to these IT surplus auctions in Port Melbourne. I think the place was called Dominion Auctions in Port Melbourne, and we'd all, as resellers back in the 90s, we'd buy, I don't know, Pentium 75s and Pentium 100s and things like that, and fix them up and sell them and call that a living. And there was one guy there. I didn't know much about him, but he would always stand around to the end, and he'd buy pallets and pallets of mini computer stuff. And so now I'm trying to find information about where I can find this guy. And the reason for it is that he lived in St Albans, which is not far from me, and he had a block of land in North Sunshine in the industrial area that he bought cheap in the 80s, and he put shipping containers and just filled them with all this mini computer stuff. And we're talking back in the 90s, so it's a bloody long time ago. And the only reason it springs to memory is because he, at one point in the 90s, he said to me, "Hey, I got a TRS-80 here. You want to come and buy it?" So I went over there to North Sunshine. We rifled through his crap and found this TRS-80 Model 4, which I subsequently bought. I was driving down those same roads, but I couldn't find where his storage was at the time. It's 20 plus years since I've been there, so you'd have to cut me a little bit of slack there. But I just wonder if he's still got all this stuff, because at the time I said, "What are you keeping all this stuff for?" And he's sort of like, "Oh," he goes, "I keep it all because I get it for $5 per pallet at the auctions, and someone comes along, if they need a part for an AS400 or something like that, they'll pay thousands of dollars to get a part." So he keeps all this stuff for that reason. Now, I probably at the time wandered through it all and didn't take much notice, because I was mainly looking for micros, not the big iron. But now I've got a new interest in trying to track this guy down and see what he actually did with all this stuff. It's quite possible that he sold what he could out of it, and the rest of it was just steel and not far from where his factory, I believe it was is a giant metal recycling facility now. So he might have just sold the lot to him and retired or something. But so I'm trying to find out, see what he's got there. Might be interesting. I don't know. I don't think there'll be a lot of micros, but there might be a lot of mini stuff, because he seemed to at these auctions they put all the 8-bit micros and all the minis right at the end, and I'd buy all the 8-bit micros cheap because no one else would want it, XTs and 286s, when everyone was buying Pentiums, and then he'd buy all the mini and mainframe stuff. So I'm trying to write up in a coherent way what I said then, so that I can post it on places like our Facebook group and other groups, to see who can who can remember this bloke.
How much older was he than you? Was he the same age or?
No, he would have been in his mid to late 40s at the time, so he'd be at retirement age, or slightly over it now, and so. But I understood his business sort of plan, which was just buy everything cheap, and if someone needs one part that's worth a shit ton of money, then you've covered your expenses. Particularly if you already own the land that your shipping crates are on, and all your shipping crates, it really doesn't cost you much in that case. But yeah,
I've got that bad feeling.
Oh, so do I.
That story makes me feel like it might be all gone.
It'll probably be all gone. All I remember when I went there in the 90s to his place was very tall fences with cyclone wire on the, well, not cyclone wire, barbed wire on the top. We're talking about North Sunshine in the 80s. And you couldn't see anything. And then once you got in there, there was like a caravan and then all these shipping crates with just grass growing up and everything. It's not going to be, if there is anything there, it's not going to be well stored.
It reminds me of another story, and I don't know what happens to this stuff, but when I first met you, Ian, and Russell Alfie and I were talking, and apparently there was a warehouse in Sydney or Queensland, I can't remember, and it was full of the liquidated Commodore warehouse. So it was brand new Commodore equipment in boxes in this place. And this is late 90s. So I started a letter writing campaign to write letters to all these warehouse owners to see if I could find all this stuff. Never got a return. But wouldn't that have been gold?
You weren't.
Actually, that was the Lane Cove Commodore, I think. Lane Cove.
Yeah, but it was the proceeds of the liquidation.
Mm.
So when they liquidated it all, some dude bought it, and he was more interested in the PCs and that sort of stuff. So it was like a computer shop that bought all the stuff, and then in that stuff was this crappy old Commodore PETs, Commodore 64s. Who wants that crap? And they were just all stacked up. And I don't know what happened to that. I don't even know if that was a myth, but it was worth writing a few letters over. So similar story,
Yeah.
but I never saw it where you actually saw it.
Yeah. And the other thing I've been sort of keenly watching, as is anyone who is based in Melbourne, is when the 5-kilometre lockdown is going to be.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that ending. I have a Western Digital hard drive to go pick up.
That's why I've got it here. It's yeah, and I got to get out to Kuwi Rup and grab a carload of beige boxes.
I haven't picked them up yet. They're still in Morwell, so I will still travel them. I'll still get them.
Okay.
I just didn't think there was any rush because it doesn't look like we're going anywhere anytime soon. But in the next couple of weeks, I'll have that cache of high quality equipment for you.
I have
High
friends
quality
in Kuwi Rup.
2004 equipment. So they're kind of talking about when I say they, I'm talking about the Andrews government are saying that they're not happy with the numbers at the moment. Is basically they're not going down fast enough, and they can only lift some of the restrictions on the 19th of October. But I'm hoping if the 5-kilometre one is one of them, then at least I can get out to Kuwi Rup and Horsham and all the other places I have to get to, and people like Julian can get over and pick their stuff. I've got actually like a small room of stuff here for people to pick up. They've been waiting for this lockdown to be over. So,
well, Ian, I'll be in Horsham on Tuesday if you want me to get some stuff from David. So
I'll talk to you on Monday, tomorrow.
So we can go to Geelong.
So we can line something up.
Well, I work in Werribee every second sort of Friday, so it's not far in relative terms from Ian's end. So,
well, David in Horsham's got basically 1.5 cars worth of stuff for me. Now, if I can get a half of that to come over with David, then I only have to make a single trip to Horsham and
yeah.
then a single trip to Geelong. So
Yeah, well, I'm up there every month, mate. So if things are still locked down, I can, it's only a back seat, but it's a big back seat. So
yeah, I got to get myself a SUV one of these days. But as always, I buy with my heart, not with my head. So of course I want a V8 one.
Anything else, Ian? What else have you been doing? Selling a
Oh.
nice looking Atari 1050 disk drive in box with manuals.
Yeah, it's a nice looking unit, and DOS 3 runs on it, which I think you told me is the crappy.
It's crap.
DOS.
It's the crap DOS.
It's the crappy DOS. But yeah, I got sick of looking at it, and actually, for the demonstration purposes of my Atari 800 XL for places like Bundoora, I don't need a disk drive, just like a cartridge and some joysticks in, and that will.
Well, if you want a disk drive, I can swap you a disk drive for that beautiful box disk drive. 'Cause it's the box I want. I don't want the drive. I just want the box.
Oh, I had the box. You just thought I had the disk drive. Yeah, when I mentioned
The box is great.
when I mentioned picking up that system, the box is in good condition and they're piss weak. They're just a very thin cardboard
yeah, that's shocking.
thing that goes around the styrofoam, and very easy to mark and rip on all of those sort of things. It's handy to use real cardboard boxes.
Well, at least they did something.
Yeah.
You don't worry what's inside them.
That's right. That's right.
As long as the box is good.
I've been making more videos as well for things, but I've been I haven't lifted my production capabilities, so they always look like crap. But as long as they convey the message I'm trying to present in monotone.
Cool.
Well, the mic's looking good anyway.
It's looking awesome.
That one.
I'm thinking John Laws here.
So, Danny, you're talking. What have you been doing?
Oh, well, besides the profile, not a lot. A lot of work, but not computer stuff. So just been trying to fix those profiles, but yeah, going around in circles. I think they're probably at the end of their life. But if I can find replacement drives, that'll be good. But other than that...
What was the drive model again?
What sort of drive is it?
ST.
Hang on, let me have a look. It's ST412, the 10 megabyte.
Full height.
Yeah, like this thing. This sort of chunky thing.
You can probably substitute in a ST225 as it will have more heads and cylinders, and it'll just format down to 10 meg.
Okay.
There's no need to with MFM. There's no real reason to specifically swap them,
Like
for model for model.
Yeah.
As long as the one you're replacing it for has the same number of heads or greater and same number of cylinders and greater, you can generally make them work. And ST225 is I think 615 cylinders and 4 heads.
17 sectors.
17 sectors. And a pretty, I know you've got a pile of them there, Anthony, but they're actually not a bad drive. They're one of the few that you're likely to still get that are working.
Not according to eBay. According to eBay, they're rare and hard to find.
Well, hopefully there's a market for broken ones because I could have a few of those. Yeah. So anyway, so that's mainly been my my weekend, just trying to fix that. Just a bit of recapping, power supplies and a few other bits and pieces. Finally, some parts came in. But yeah, that's about it, really.
Hey, have you recapped your Lisa?
I don't have it yet.
He hasn't got it yet.
It's
Still
still
in
with
Sydney.
Murray.
Because I've
In quarantine.
do you know Console 5, that website that sells cap kits?
Yeah.
I've been working with him to develop the full suite of Lisa 2 cap kits.
Oh, okay.
I've been pulling mine apart and then photographing them and identifying every component because I'm going to buy the caps, but I thought, wouldn't it be great if someone could just sell you a kit? Here's what you need. Let's go and do it. And for anyone else who likes Console 5, I love the convenience. I think it's great. and he hasn't got something, he's more than happy if you do the work for him. And then
What's the postage like from them?
if you buy about 400 cap kits,
Because
so I've got a box over there that's full of his cap.
that's usually the only problem is like, obviously I buy from DigiKey and Mouser and things like that, the parts that I need, and I usually have plenty of them.
How many leases are there?
Well,
Not a big market.
Oh no,
Well,
it's
this
not
place
about that. I mean,
wide.
it's just handy to buy like the kits of everything you need for whatever you're recapping, because sometimes you just can't be bothered. You just want to buy a solution and then just sit down and do it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it does help because you get to the end of your project and you're missing a cap or two and you have to put it aside and reorder. So,
doesn't say what the postage was. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's not bad if you buy lots.
is that from the States?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, fair enough. Yeah, so not a lot.
I started offering a recap kit for the Color Computer 3 about 6 months ago, but I haven't had one person take me up on it yet. So even though they have the worst capacitors, by the time that they fail in the Color Computer 3, they've leaked out everywhere and look terrible. But up to that point, they will run and bulge and carry on. But on visual inspection, they look all right. So people won't recap them until the computer fails altogether. Then they send me the computer to repair, and it's always
Disgusting.
capacitors. Yeah, Tandy, for whatever reason, put actually high quality Nishikon capacitors in their Color Computer 1 and 2, but they quickly, well, not quickly, by the time the Coco 3 came along, they realized why we put in these high quality capacitors, which are going to last 30 years in a toy computer. So they put the cheapies in the Coco 3.
Any particular brand or just no names?
What that are in the Color Computer 3?
Yeah.
I haven't looked closely enough.
Oh, okay.
I just pull the board out, desolder all the caps I know give the problems in one go, and replace them with units from Rockby.
Fair enough.
Who's next?
I'll go next. I mean,
All right, Max.
Cool. Yeah. To be honest, I haven't got much, but I mean, I bought a couple of Voodoo 2s and I'm gonna run them in SLI, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, got a pair of 8 meg cards. I was gonna use 12 megs originally, but the budget just wasn't cut out for it. They get expensive.
Yeah, I forgot that there were 2 different models.
Yeah, there was the 8 meg and then the 12 meg.
The AGP or the PCI?
PCI, yeah.
You're lucky to find them. I have a lot of people asking me for those things, but I never find them in the e-waste systems that get sent my way. So,
yeah, I had to get them from overseas. Actually, one's from Australia, but the other one came from the UK.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say AliExpress.
Oh no,
They're
I
starting to
found
get
some.
some video cards as well, but people are kind of like,
Yeah, I found some on AliExpress, but no, they just look too sus. They weren't worth it.
they look too good to be true. That's
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the problem. The photos look great. The price looks like one quarter what the rest of the world's asking for them. You wonder what's going to arrive in the mail. I suppose if you're feeling lucky and feel like shelling out, $30 and waiting 4 months for it to arrive, you might actually get a good card out of it.
Yeah, I ordered a Pentium Pro CPU from Czech Republic, so we'll see
Okay.
if that arrives. Yeah, it was a fair price, but I mean it was the cheapest one, so yeah.
They sell pretty quick when I get them, even though I kind of think the Pentium 2 has the legs on the Pentium Pro, but
It does for 16-bit.
It does?
Oh yeah, the Pentium Pro is awful in 16-bit. So it was actually something Intel fixed on the Pentium 2. If you benchmark Win95 on a Pentium Pro and a Pentium 2, the Pentium Pro will never win.
Okay.
In fact, for Win95, they typically found that you got better performance out of a Pentium than you did a Pentium Pro.
Well, like
Gosh.
an MMX or something.
even a non-MMX, just any Pentium because of the design of the Pentium Pro.
So what market segment was the Pentium Pro aimed for? I never bought one at the time. They just seemed overpriced. And at the time I was using a 200 MMX, which was sufficient for what I was doing.
So
the start of the Xeon, weren't they?
not quite, but the Pro, well, the Pro is sort of the progenitor of all the
Yeah.
i7s we use now, but the Pentium Pro was targeted in single processor variants generally at the low-end workstation market and in multi-processor specifications at the server market.
Okay.
In
Yep.
pure 32-bit, it outperforms the Pentium, but when you're running mixed bitness like 95 was, it was just awful.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've also been buying up some broken socket 370 motherboards, just keeping an eye out for them on eBay or whatever. And I've got a few cheap ones, like $20 here or there for a couple. Most are Tualatin boards, so that's really nice.
Broken for any specific, as a fix-it project?
Yeah, and I've fixed, honestly, the majority of them. One I had to replace some MOSFETs on, the other was some capacitors, and yeah, I fixed them up. Most of the time I've found it's people who have had a go at soldering or something, and they've just butchered the board. Yeah. Nah, because the thing is, I found a Pentium Pro board in the mix of all that, and it didn't have a VRM with it, which I only later discovered. So I had to get one of those from America. Yeah, but now I've got the CPU coming. I've got the VRM, so yeah, hopefully it all works. That'll be good.
So you got a board without the processor.
Yeah, so it's a socket 8 motherboard, so Pentium Pro.
It had no processor on it.
No CPU. And it also didn't have the VRM or voltage regulator module, which you need for those because it doesn't have it integrated like most boards. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
I
got
think Julian's about to. Have you got one there, Julian?
Yeah, a couple dead socket 370 boards. They're in the pile for my small human to attack. She seems to like rearranging dead motherboards with a hammer. I'll put these two up though.
That'll work.
One needs capacitors. That one's just got shock caps, but I'm too lazy to fix it.
Oh, you should send it my way, man. I'll fix them up.
Yeah,
Breathe some new life in them.
This one I got no idea. I gave it RAM, I gave it a chip, and it basically just sits there screaming at me.
Have you got
yeah.
one of those cheap ass PCI ISA test cards, Julian?
I've been meaning to get one for many years now.
All right, I got one because they were like, at one point they were like $11 from China, so it fell into the if nothing arrives, then I've hardly lost anything. And 3 months later it arrived, and while I don't specifically look at the hex display on it, what's more important for what I want to do is just check that all three voltages are present. And if your voltages aren't present, then usually fixing that problem will bring that motherboard back. That's usually all that's required. I mean, I think I mentioned at the last Zoom get together, and I've been continuing with it, is that I've been sick of throwing out motherboards just because I've got 5 or 6 bulging capacitors. So I've been dutifully replacing those and getting good working boards out of them.
Is this what you're talking about, Ian?
That's the one, yeah.
$13. 83 cents postage.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
very strange amount.
That's the other part that I suppose from some angles you can't read the display, so that's the external thing.
Just buying it now.
But yeah, it might take a little while to arrive.
Hey, Ian,
Yeah.
do you bin a lot of stuff like motherboards or whatever?
No, I pile it up and then I put it up as a lot for techies and repairers. So I've got I reckon maybe a dozen motherboards there that are just sitting there with various ailments. Early ones have problems with battery leakage. I've got Pentium boards there which have marks, and as you find,
Yeah.
previous attempts of people's repairing. They're my least favourite ones.
Yeah, they're the most annoying. Because sometimes they aren't even good at it too, soldering, you know?
No, if they were actually any good at it, they'd probably
They'd be
have
fixed.
succeeded in repairing it
fixed,
and
yeah.
not have to sell it.
Yeah.
My other interest is classic cars, and the same thing happens. People
Oh,
frig around with them and
yep.
ruin them and then sell them, and you've got to actually work backwards to work out why something isn't quite right.
Gosh, that sounds annoying.
Welcome to vintage
Yep.
computing.
I have another thing you got for sale on my watch list, and my theory is if it's there when I get paid, I'm meant to be buying it. And that's the compact multimedia keyboard, or the HP.
Oh, the one, my overpriced keyboard. Yes, okay. Everything on my my site, any color you like, it's all overpriced.
I have the HP to put it on, which has actually been my bigger month project that I forgot about. I bought it. I have the box for it up in the storage area. And it was running 98 until a few days ago. Now it's running 98 2000 and a copy of Red Hat 9, which took a bit of massaging to get it to install without completely destroying my partition table. And I had to compile a kernel so I could install the correct NVIDIA driver for it.
This brings an interesting thing to mind, which we'll get a show of hands here. Who's bought something and subsequently forgot they've bought it?
Yeah, me.
All the time.
Like when a truck full of timber turned up.
That's why it's so much fun when the parcel arrives. It's like Christmas. What is it?
What have we got?
Oh, did I order that?
I had a delivery at lunchtime today. It's Sunday, and I've got a delivery from DigiKey. So I don't know who they're getting to deliver their stuff, or which company, but obviously they must be paying them extra on Sundays. So,
Oh no, I got 2 deliveries today. So
Yeah, but DigiKey usually use couriers.
Mm.
They don't deliver on Saturdays and Sundays.
Not the ones I use, no.
I've got,
No,
I've,
not
got
mine either.
I've had DHL deliver stuff on Sundays.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's unusual.
I see
Right.
Andrew Ladd's just joined us. Your camera's off, Andrew.
it was on for a split second.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that was,
There he
that
is.
was on, that was on
The man with
purpose.
the shrinking head.
I'm still eating my dinner, Ian, so I thought I'd.
That's all right. I'm making my way through a whole packet of fillers. So
All right. I'll go through what I've been doing. So I've been going through all my IBM PCs, XTs, and ATs, and actually fixing them up and getting them going, and discovering the vast quantities of machines that I actually own. And I'm slowly moving. I moved one off last week. I don't know if anyone saw that one go on eBay. That one's gone. I've decided that I was going to collect every single original Intellivision cartridge. So I've been actively pursuing every single cartridge. So there's 125 originals, and then there's homebrews on top of that. So I got Defender of the Crown for the Intellivision, which is totally awesome. And I'm probably about 60 to 70% complete in my collecting of Intellivision cartridges. That'll take a while. I've been moving off my duplicates. So I've received a lot of criticism over the past 6 months about the vast collection that I might have of single machines. So I have made it a point to try to list a Commodore 64 on eBay once a fortnight. So I will eventually get my collection of 70 plus down to something modest. There's so many. Don't ask me how I've got so many. I don't even know how it happened. In the thinning, I've been recapping and selling some Macs. I don't know if anyone's noticed my little Mac Plus is going on eBay, and my I sold a 512 the other day, and I've got this box of mice, and Murray, you got involved in the chat, so I went into the box and I'm like, I grab a mouse, no ball.
Yeah.
No ball. I've got like 2 mice with balls and about 15 with none. So I'm like,
They're female mice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they never came with balls.
They don't work.
So I've been on Alibaba and I've found that there's Chinese sellers that sell ball bearings covered in rubber, and they quote like 50 cents a ball. But when you ask for them, they say $5 each. So I'm trying to figure out how that works. But I only want 20, and I'm trying to get them cheap because they're probably not going to work anyway.
Yeah, I think it's got to be quite specific, the size. Otherwise, it doesn't roll properly.
25.4 is the max style, 25.4 mil or 1 inch.
Yeah.
And these ones from China look like they're about 25.1, 25.2.
Or whatever they make them as.
Yeah, or whatever.
Whatever.
And at $5 each, they must be pretty premium. So, yeah. So I'm gonna give it a crack. If I can get them at 50 cents each, I'll just laugh and throw them in the bin if it doesn't work out.
Hey, could you link us your eBay? I don't happen to know it. Yeah, your eBay store or whatever.
If you go on eBay right now and you do a search for Commodore SX64 keyboard,
I saw that.
You'll find it.
You'll find all my items. So
sweet.
It's going to be the most expensive keyboard cable in human history.
Is it like $70?
It's currently 74, yes.
Ah, yeah, that's it.
So if you look at the other items that I've got, you'll see some crap.
It could be worse. It could be that GS that went for $2,500.
Yeah.
Canberra.
Yeah.
Surely that didn't sell.
It did. The guy left feedback to say it was, he was happy with the pickup.
Oh.
Well,
$2,500.
Well, I'm preparing a ROM 3 2GS at the moment, so
it never works that way. You put one up and then it'll never go as much.
I know.
I've been trying to make. I've got a Color Classic that its board died. I was able to pick up an LC 575 board.
Yep.
So I want to convert it to a Mystic, and I thought I'll do the cheap, easy route. I'll just do the software mod. Can't get it to happen. I do not have the skills, knowledge, or inclination, so I'm going to follow Bruce Rain's advice and cut the bastard and make the 640 by 480 VGA mod. So I haven't started that yet, but I gave up on the software today. And I've been archiving things. So not as much as Alan, but I've been doing some archiving. And someone mentioned in the group that my AdLib Gold was rare. I didn't realize how rare it was. So I've archived all that software. And I thought that I kept that in pretty good nick. And I can tell you, I had to clean and clean and clean and clean and clean those discs to get them to read. But I got them all read, and that's no worries. But yeah, I was shocked that the condition of those discs. But yeah.
What are you using to clean them?
Isopropyl alcohol.
Just with a cotton bud or just?
A cotton bud.
Yeah.
But do you know what actually worked really well? Don't judge me. You get the isopropyl spray, you spray it in the disc and just jam it in the drive, and then you hear it stall, and it tries to clean and turn it because the friction there's a lot of friction in there, and then you grab it and you grab your pen and you sort of stick it in. You got read more data, do it again. Yeah, that's how I got the data off, but it worked. I didn't do any damage. I've had some bad experiences with cotton buds on 5 1/4, but none on 3 1/2.
Okay.
But yeah, that worked. And yeah, that's about, and recapping lots of things. And there's over here, I don't know if you can see, there's Macs in various states of recapping there on the floor. Yeah, they're going to be on eBay soon.
One interesting. What? One interesting thing I learned this month while repairing a 3.5-inch floppy drive, as Citizen was belt driven, is that if you use a type of plastic that my brother-in-law affectionately calls wet noodle, you can actually print Citizen drive belts rather than trying to source them online.
Huh. There you go.
I forget the actual type of plastic, though. We just call it wet noodle.
There you go.
That's how it comes off the roll, like wet noodle.
Very good. All right. Who wants to talk next?
Silence.
David, one of the Davids.
All right, it's been an interesting month. I got half a shipment from the UK, so I got half a PET 2001. Luckily, it was the bottom half, so I can actually do some work on it. The other half has gone missing in transit.
Oh no!
So DHL is not my friend at the moment. And the board was the dirtiest thing I've ever seen. I think there's a lot of modifications that have been done to it. Someone's put an edge connector, a pin connector on the edge connector here, and there's a lot of bodges.
What the heck have they done?
So I'm not sure. It looks like it's been used in industry because it is was completely covered about 1 millimetre thick in a mixture of dust and grease. And I say that deliberately because alcohol wouldn't even move it. I actually had to use Windex and manual. Even put it in a dishwasher, didn't even shift it.
Wow.
So it took about 3 hours to actually be able to see the green instead of the brown. So,
Hey, are you bidding on that then?
Is that the Super Pet?
No, the other one that's got the same crazy heat sinks on it that yours.
Yeah, I have put a bid on that just in case this thing's shot. So
because I've got, you know how many I've got, and I've got none with those crazy heat sinks.
Well, this one. This one's I think it's the slightly later 2001 board. So it's actually a 16K board. So it's using the later 2114 RAM as opposed to the, was it the 6550 RAM that the really early ones ran? So, but yeah, I've got an interest on that board, but if you want it, you'll...
Nope. I don't need any more.
Anymore. And I've been in a buying mood this month, and probably spent more money than I should have. But a Kim 1 came up that looked in really nice condition, so I had to snap that up. And
that was that museum-looking guy.
Yeah. I chucked a cheeky bid at him, and he's just gone, yeah, all right. So.
Would you mind sharing what one might be worth?
I don't really want to think about it too much, but let's put it this way: it's less than 4 figures. I'll put it like that.
Okay,
that's all right.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's cheaper than an Apple IIgs.
Yeah.
There's one in the cupboard behind me. I probably should sell it. What else? Oh yeah, I've been fixing up an old Sony MSX as well, which I just haven't got around to trying to power up yet because it had been dropped, so I fixed the case and chips had fallen out, and there was a crack in the little power delivery board, and so I've been fixing that up, and just about ready to see whether the smoke's going to come out as well. So we'll give that a crack soon.
Oh, cool.
Fingers crossed.
Hey, is that Craig from Texas there?
Yeah, it is, I think.
It is, yes.
Hey, Craig. How about those Magpies?
Oh, mate.
I didn't stay up to watch that?
I didn't get up at 3:40 a.m. yesterday. I was out camping at a motocross park with my kids, actually. And I kind of woke up. I thought, you know what? I'll check the scores properly in the morning and watch a replay. And I have not watched that replay.
It's all that and less. I'm not a big football fan. My son though is a big Magpies fan, and he was really revved up to watch this turkey of a match, and he actually didn't even make it the whole way through. He left at the third end of the third quarter, at which point Magpies had 1 goal and 1 point. And I started watching at that point. They actually got 3 goals, but still got comprehensively thrashed. So well, that's
Yeah.
enough. That's enough football news for the day. But I just noticed on your post on our Facebook group, you said that you could either what was it? You could either watch the game or go to computer reset. So I hope you went to computer reset today.
I did. That was 2 weeks ago, actually. And I think the choice was watch the football yesterday or join you folks and smoke up some meat. So I've just got the charcoal going now. Just loaded that up.
I can see it.
Yeah, let me flip my camera. I've got a couple of things I could quickly show from computer reset. So it's amazing in comparison. So when I was there 15 months ago, it was a horde, and now it's more organized into, lots where you can actually go pick, and it's gone from hoarders to American pickers, I would say. So it's much
Are they
easier.
actually asking real money for things now, or is it still a dime?
It's gone from pennies in the pound to a dime in the pound, I would say. So last time I was there, I spent $60 and filled up the SUV completely. And this time I spent $110 and half filled the SUV.
Is that a PCJR on the floor?
Yeah, I ended up getting one. Like, they've got so many of them there. So they've got a PC Junior. I've got a couple of boxes of other PC Junior hardware here and there, and got a keyboard somewhere in the collection, probably in the box just here with keyboards and mice.
Anthony would probably want, if you see there, a token ring adapter for PC Junior.
What I'm looking so here's the PC Junior cluster attachment here.
It's not token ring.
but the issue is the software. So here's the standard IBM PC cluster adapter. So I'm going to have a cluster for the PC and PC Junior together. However, the software, I can't find it anywhere. So if you just happen to go to computer reset, you just happen to see the IBM PC cluster software.
Yeah.
That would be so awesome if it could be found.
Awesome. I'll look out for it.
It's not in the wild. No one's got it anywhere. No one even knows it exists. But if anyone's heard of it or got, is David, you weren't about to go and grab it off the shelf, were you? Yeah, but that would be awesome if you happen to find that.
Is cluster adapter a IBM speak for a NIC?
No, it's IBM speak for a really crappy network. So it's not a network. It's like.
So what protocol does it use? Is it token ring
cluster protocol?
It's not Ethernet. It's not token. It's not VINE.
No, it doesn't even use the same resistance terminators. So instead of 50 ohm terminators, it uses 75 ohm terminators. So they do everything just to make it weird. So, but they come with those, so that's not a problem. But just don't come with the software.
Well, I'll reach out to Raymond Jett. If anyone knows whether it's there, he will. So that should be. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one. We actually found a whole box of Windows 95 upgrade. It must have been about like 40 copies of it in there, still in shrink wrap. But there is still boxes and boxes of stuff hidden away, more neatly organized and more accessible, but still opening boxes for the first time.
Did you see Did you see any IBM prototypes getting destroyed by paperclips?
Fortunately not. bit of a running joke while we're there, though, I've got to say. One of the things when you do go there is if you can take a CRT away with you, you'll get a discount. And to match my Atari 2600, I ended up getting this old RCA television. It's about 1983 and it actually powers on still, so I was happy with that. And I thought I'd just be able to attach my the old coax connected to it, but it's actually got 4 different pins for VHF and UHF. So I'm going to get wire up a different adapter. It's that old. I didn't realize that the bunny is there was something before RCA. The other thing I picked up is I got a 286. Sorry, 286. A XT in this bag. Yeah, fair enough. It's not that exciting, but I got an adapter I didn't know existed. And this adapter goes onto the XT and allows you to run a 1.44 meg floppy drive instead of the 5 1/4 that it came with. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to putting that together. My
one of those here, I found it in a box the other day, and I was looking at it. It was the mankiest, shittiest looking card I've ever seen.
Oh, you got one? Yeah, cool.
And I ended up testing it and it worked perfectly. And so obviously I put it on eBay, but it's one of those things that came in with a consignment of stuff and just looked terrible. And I hadn't done anything with it for years, but when I plugged it in, it worked first time and sort of realized how rare it was. Just the new guy, newbie here today is Max from Melbourne. Max?
Nah, Sydney.
It's from Sydney, yeah. So Craig's our furthest dial in. He's in Texas.
Oh wow.
Expat Aussie, but in Texas.
Does he know Does he know the paperclip serial killer?
I don't. I'll have to look that one up.
Oh, that
sounds enticing.
You don't want to, trust me.
Oh, really?
It's all that. It's all that and less. Yeah.
He's talking about 8-Bit Guy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
8-Bit
that
guy, right? Oh, I'm with you now. Yes, yeah.
He shoved a paperclip in it.
I saw a meme actually of Microsoft Clippy, and a few comments about that.
Yeah.
So Craig's main interest is, believe it or not, acoustically coupled modems. So
yes, so I've got a couple here. I've got a whole lot in Australia in a shipping container in Colac, which is southwest Victoria. But I've got a few tucked away here and there. But yeah, I don't like eBay prices. I did pay eBay prices for this next workstation, the Turbo down here, but I rarely do buy things off eBay for all the reasons we know. But yeah, definitely acoustic couplers, especially the wooden box ones from the late 60s are the favourites. They're obviously getting really hard to come by these days. Max Burnett offered me one years ago and I declined because I didn't feel right just to be gifted one from him, and I kind of regret that now too. But anyway. Yeah.
I had one back in the day. I never used it or plugged it in, but because it was wooden, I threw it out.
Really? Oh, wow. Ouch.
Yeah. What speed did those run at? Were they 300 or were they 110 board?
Sometimes 110, sometimes switchable between 150 and 300.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, like I've seen videos of people getting the 300 ones connected to IRC, and you can kind of see the screen updating character by character.
So can you actually use those old modems at all?
Yeah, you can. They've actually got, I haven't done it yet, but they have got software to emulate PSTN, and you can get them connected to each other that way. I mean, if you could still get a PSTN connection, I mean, it's much harder if you've got NBN, I believe. That's where you'd need to use the virtualized dialing stuff. But providing you've got a landline still, yes, you can connect them up, and they've still got basically dial-in points that you can connect up to still.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But if you want to emulate the whole experience, you can telnet to telehack.org, I think it is, or telehack.com. I can't quite remember. And you're basically dropped into a what looks to be a tops 10, maybe a tops 20 operating system, and a lot of archives from the internet in about 1984, 85 sort of era. You can bounce around between hosts and play a few games and things that way.
One of the things you can do is you can get an ATA, which is an analog phone adapter, which is, and then on the other side it's got Ethernet, and they use them for VoIP. So you can put an old PSTN phone over VoIP, and if you get the right one and you select the appropriate compression and so forth, I believe from what I've seen and heard, I've got one but I haven't got it working yet, you can make your own sort of network, and then you can use some open source PABX software if you want and so forth. So I've got a goal to do a similar thing, to actually get one of these old acoustic couplers connected to the internet via some other bits and pieces.
Yeah, cool. I've got a similar goal. Sure, we might have to trade notes as we get into that.
Yeah, for sure. Eventually we'll do a dial-up and we'll have a chat,
Absolutely, yeah.
This is what you need, Craig. Good old
there we
beam
go. Look at that. Wow, micro beam. That is fantastic.
with a push button phone, but it's actually you press number 3 and it goes 3 times.
Similar to that one.
But does it have a answer and originate switch?
Yeah. You ring first. Hang on, where are we? This switch here is your originator and answerer. So you ring in first. When you hear the squealing at the other end, you then flicker down. this one's the second model, allows you to run 300 board or the 1275.
Wow, that looks pretty much brand new as well. That's in great condition.
Yeah, it is. It's in great condition. And I've got a 300 out, the original 300 out in the shed as well.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah, and you've got an old phone.
Is you can buy yourself a PABX.
Yeah.
And there's all your telephone lines that you can emulate and dial yourself.
Yep.
Hey, Craig, was that a Motorola 9660 first generation brick GSM phone? That one, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. It's labelled a Pulsar. They went into partnership, I think, with Motorola. This one's got the cigarette lighter adapter, so this could be your car phone, but that's just an adapter, so you can run it as a normal brick without the car as well. I haven't got too many phones here in the States. I've got this is an old whatchamacallit satellite phone, actually. This is newer. This is like early 90s. Qualcomm. Thing about satellite phones is you're paying like $10 a minute or something for the calls. Even these days, that's more for emergencies. Don't have much else in terms of phones here. I've got a bunch of bricks in Australia.
One of the things I'd found, but I can't remember now, was some of the really, really old mobile phones actually were Z80 based, which is pretty cool. So,
oh wow, I didn't know that.
And it's probably one of those original ones that came in a box the size of an Esky that was like this pack. And then it had the phone separate, but I'm sure they're probably thousands of dollars regardless.
Yeah, jeez.
This is the very modem that the MBUG club here in Melbourne, Microbee club in Melbourne, use for their bulletin board, 2400.
Mm-hmm.
Netcom.
Yeah. You can only type at 300 board. You don't need anything faster than that.
No. I think they were moving files across. Yeah, so a few files moved back and forth. But anyhow, that's the original modem they used back in the 80s and 90s.
All right.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to switch off video. I've got to attend to this fire.
No worries. Who else has everyone been up to in the last month? Murray, I nominate you.
Well, I bought a fourth Peach.
Oh, wow.
And it came with software.
Nice.
And a couple of disk drives, which have been wired up. They're IBM drives. And still haven't got the Peach yet. It's still in Victoria in quarantine. Got the rest of the stuff posted up. And spent yesterday and today shifting stuff from trucks to the new ACMS location. We have a premises.
Yeah.
We have racking installed. We have been sorting gear today and deciding what to chuck and what to keep and trying to dry out some of the documents. And yeah, it's been an interesting experience, apart from the mold. Yeah.
I've been following that. It looks pretty good how it's coming along. It's like it's more substantial than the previous place.
Well, yes, it's bigger than Tumbiumbi, far better than Villawood. It's probably not as big as Villawood, and also better than the containers that a lot of the stuff we've been rescuing is in at the moment. So all up, if we consolidate and remove all the stuff from the other three locations, it won't cost us much more than what we're paying now for the one place. And we hope to sort of set up a display area and actually have meetings and visitors and get it going, which will be really good.
Very good.
Yep. And hopefully when I get it sorted, sort of trying to get information at the moment. I'm going to be dealing with the membership side of things.
To grow it.
Well, just to keep track of it, because I mean, I've joined about 3 times, I think, and I've never received a renewal notice. The previous committee, you know, even now, they said
that stuff down pat if you want to run anything viable.
Ah, totally. They sent me a spreadsheet, you know, my name's on it, but it doesn't even tell me when I joined, when I paid. So I've got to sort all that out. That's going to be a headache.
Maybe it's like race horses. You all joined on the same day and you all renew on the same day.
I've mentioned that because I do another group and I've been getting them to change to the 1st of July for everybody. So we shifted the yearly payment so that they were all divisible by 12, so that, if you join up in January, you only pay half a year. Yeah, it's easy. I can deal with that. No, we don't want to do that. We're going to stick with the 35 a year at the moment, so I'll work on it. But we've been given free internet for a year, so that will help. Got to get the NBN installed on Wednesday. So Adrian's sort of put his museum at Portland on hold at the moment, and we're concentrating on this one.
I've been meaning to have a word with Riley to talk to him about that the museum probably, what we were talking about at the last one of these we did a month ago was that the facility is probably better served as a resource rather than a museum for the reason that we said that how many times a year or every couple of years are people likely to want to travel to a place like that. It's better as a resource. It's been a long time since I've been in academia, but universities have large collections of things that only really that academics can get to with specific applications and things like that. And when I'm talking about that, when you think about at Yale University with their Gutenberg Bibles and things like that, not everyone can get in to see those things that you've got to really, but the universities that have these sort of resources of stuff have it really well set up for the people that are interested in that sort of stuff to be able to easily get information as required. So maybe more as a resource center with possibly an online presence for exhibitions and things like that, or lectures or whatever, as opposed to a museum. A lot of us in Melbourne saw what happened to the printing museum, which ended ignominiously.
There's been lots. There was a fantastic bicycle museum in Canberra for many years, and it just folded through, I don't know, lack of money and interest, I gather.
Yeah. But we'll see how they go.
Yeah.
The updates are interesting to watch. So glad I'm not in Sydney. Not that I wouldn't help, but fitness is not my strong suit. So
yeah, we've been moving some reasonably heavy cabinets today. One of the people that stored a lot of our stuff from Villawood lent us an 8-ton truck, so we managed to fill that with 2 full loads this weekend from Friday to today.
Yeah.
Remove a lot of stuff from these containers.
Hey, so you mentioned another peach. So are you getting it sort of shipped up to you, or you're driving down to Melbourne to collect it, or?
I think he's driving down to Melbourne.
I would like to drive down to Melbourne.
Yeah.
I've got an elderly aunt that is living in lockdown at the moment that I'd like to visit.
Too?
Huh?
Is her name Lisa?
No. And I could bring Lisa with me and take the peach home.
Yeah, exactly.
I
But
was just wondering if you were getting it posted to you because I got Rob Caparato on there. Hey Rob, how you going? And we just had the longest delivery. Rob's only 17 kilometres from me, yet something
Right.
took 4.5 weeks.
September 8th it was posted and arrived here October 1. That was one of Ian's memory boards for the Coco 3. I haven't had a chance to install it yet, unfortunately. I've been pretty busy this month with non-vintage computing things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I mean, this fellow, he put it up for sale, I think it was on Facebook
Yeah.
I'm not too sure exactly where. $100.
Wow.
It wouldn't last long. No wonder I didn't see it.
It was up there for half an hour.
Yeah.
And I sent him a message. He had that. He had the drives. He had the software, and a light pen in the original box.
Wow, cool.
Where was this, Murray?
What suburb was he in, Danny?
I think Wheelers Hill.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah. It wasn't far from you, but further than the 5Ks. So I sent him 150 and said, pack up these things, because I wanted the drives and the boards and the software, and there were a few manuals that I didn't have, and then he got him to send the rest of the stuff up. So there's really just the main unit. I might just send him some more money and get him to post it, because it's a pretty rugged machine.
They're pretty rugged machines.
And I got one of them within 2 days.
Yeah, I think Melbourne to Melbourne is a problem. Melbourne to outside of Melbourne isn't a problem. Because I think that they just don't have the people to sort. So they're just stockpiling everything in Melbourne. And I think I heard some stuff is going out of Melbourne, getting sorted, and then coming back.
Yeah.
So,
but I sent stuff to Melbourne.
Sydney and Adelaide.
Yeah, which is silly.
I had a series of parcels definitely end up in Sydney before they came back to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I've stopped
looking better now, though.
But I've had parcels going to Victoria that were just sitting in Sydney for a week before they even moved.
Yeah.
And then others, they arrive the next day. You think, what's going on? It's a lottery.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I've got to try and get one of these systems working, get the software copied. Yeah, it's a really strange system. He's made this circuit board himself, because it's a huge, I don't know, looks like 50-pin connector for the drives. And he's just run it and adapted it to standard IBM drives. And did this all 30-odd years ago, put it in a cupboard for 35 years, and then decided to sell it. And I thought, wow, how come I'm here at the right time? It's just...
Do they use 8-inch drives, the P?
No, 5 1/4.
I'm surprised they got a 50-pin connection for their disk
It's
drive.
a huge thing. And some of the boards that go inside the Peach are actually 2 circuit boards. They take up 2 slots, and they've got a connector on the inside.
They've generally got those Amphroil connectors at the
Yeah,
back that are
that's the one.
pretty
They're huge.
pretty large and sturdy.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of basically new Peach manuals and documentation if you want them.
I think I've probably got just about all of it at the moment. There's a whole heap that's been digitized already. Jeremy scanned a lot of stuff for me. I've still got some original books, but yeah, software is the thing. And there was a user group in Sydney, I discovered, a Peach user group up in the mountains. Found one of their magazines.
And Micro 80 from Adelaide, if you have a look, a lot of the issues have Hitachi Peach content for some reason.
Okay.
For some reason, the Peach took off in Adelaide in small numbers, but also Micro 80, which was a TRS 80 magazine, incorporated color computers, which used the 6809 processor, and then by extension just started doing Hitachi stuff because it's completely incompatible. It does use the same processor.
You haven't seen the ad that I put up on my Peach webpage.
Didn't know there was one.
Advertising the Peach. I mean, if you see that ad, you've got to buy one. She's well worth it.
All right.
I'll just
think.
Yeah, it's peach.com, peach.au2.com.
Okay.
Type it up here.
I'll check it soon. Hey, I think Justin Condello wants to show us a demo or something. Justin? You're muted, Justin.
Oh, that's nice. No, I was just like setting it up. It was on my desk the whole time, so it was just like this comes up. Otherwise,
What have you been up to?
What have you been up to, Justin?
Me, recapping the classic, Mac Classic. So, this is just this is the memory boards just sitting here on my desk. Yeah, had so turns out I had surface mount capacitors on the logic board, and they seem to have just jizzed out everywhere because all the soldering has gone that weird grayish.
Yeah, like these.
Probably, if I could see that.
What's that you're holding, Anthony?
Yeah, that's a logic board.
It's a logic board for a Mac Classic.
Yeah, and the capacitors are all leaky.
Yeah, that's our standard feature.
Yep.
If they haven't been replaced by now, they're leaking.
Oh, yeah. That's working.
Yeah, I've got a Mac Classic. Still doesn't work though. I recapped it, did everything, doesn't work.
The analog board. I've done the analog board because I'm trying to do the logic board because the surface mount capacitors are hard to get off.
So, anything else, Justin?
Nah, that's it really. Commodore works.
Is that your daughter, Justin?
Yep, she's right here.
Yes, right there. Wouldn't be a Bandura without her there.
So, Cameron, what are you doing in a hotel? Tell us all about it. I've been wanting to find out why you're in a hotel.
I've got to get out of Melbourne.
Where did you go?
So, yeah, I've been trying to get back to Tassie for 6 months. So, the only way to do it is to go into a hotel for two weeks and pay $3,000. So, that's what I'm doing.
And how long have you been there?
Oh, only 3 days. So, yeah, the internet was down, so I didn't think I'd be able to join, but they just fixed it. The internet down and locked in a room. Like there's cops and stuff walking up and down. There's like a prison yard that you're allowed to exercise in. You know, they're not mucking around.
Then do you fly or do you get on the Spirit?
No, I came over on the boat. So I'm in Devonport right now. Yeah.
Oh, so you're actually in Tasmania now?
Yeah, that's what the hotel quarantine is about. Like
You got to quarantine in the state you arrive in.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they won't let me pass, but I did load up the car with all my doubles. So because I kind of got two collections, like the Tassie one and the Melbourne one. So, yeah. So who knows? Because I teach online. So my school let me go. So I can still teach because all the classes are online at the moment.
Yeah.
So
As long as you've got internet.
That helps.
So in Tassie, no, it's all just satellite, crappy internet. So we'll see. Yeah, but retro-y stuff. I'm going to try and fix my pet in Tassie because I've got a pet in Tassie. So Anthony, you might get a few questions. I got off a guy who was up in Mount Wellington, in Hobart, and it was literally just in a shed and had leaves and stuff in it. So I doubt it's going to work, but they're pretty sturdy things, right?
Yeah, just don't plug it in straight away, please.
No. Cleaned the leaves. That was the only thing I did last time I was home. So cleaned up really nice. There is a strip of rust underneath the monitor, but nowhere else. So yeah, I'm not sure because they're just painted, right? So I'll try and strip that down. And,
yeah, just paint. Yeah,
just paint it. It's really weird. It's just one little bezel underneath the monitor, and nowhere else is there any rust. So, all right, it's a 4032, I think.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I hope it is actually a 40 because most of the 4032s, anything 40 has been modified to be an 80. So I hope it is a 40 because that's cool. The fat 40s,
games, right?
The fat 40s are cool.
Yeah, so what else have I bought home? Oh, I got that Macintosh working. I think last time I was on, I was thinking of looking at it. So I stripped that down and cleaned up the disk drive. Disk drive didn't work at all, but it's a really strange mechanism. There's like big plates of metal rubbing against other big plates of metal. Like it's very over-engineered. So the lubricant they had, it just turns into glue. Like it was real proper sticky. So nothing worked in it. So I cleaned all that and it all worked, and my discs work, and it booted up to OS 5, I think. So that was pretty cool. And the hacked up memory expansion. The 2 megabyte memory expansion works. Like, I don't know if you know anything about old Mac classics, like the original ones, but you could buy memory expansions, and there was just the tiniest amount of room that they'd shove them in. And you kind of got to stretch the frame a bit to get it in and out. And so, yeah, that original one has a SCSI port as well, which is hacked into it as well. So, I don't know.
Are you actually talking about what Justin is showing you there? And that's...
Hang on, where is that?
Are you talking about something like this, where you've got your classic board and you've got the steel, and then you've got to actually put the card in at the right angle like that?
Yeah.
And then you've got to get that through the steel frame in the clear.
Yeah, it's like on the original Mac, like this is a 512K fat Mac.
Oh,
so
on a 512. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but there's 2, like it goes underneath the, like at the base of it. Yep. And they've got the board, and there's just the tiniest amount of space between that and all the other gumph. And yeah, like the guy I got it off, it was his original machine. He just gave it to me. So I can't remember how much it cost him, but I remember at the time going, holy shit, like, why would you do that? It cost a huge amount of money, a 2 meg expansion for an original Mac. But I'm happy about that. So I'm not sure if it's not that yellow, but seems to be more yellow than the Plus, but the Plus is more beige, isn't it? I don't know if anyone knows.
No, I think the Plus and the 512 are the same colour.
No,
Weren't there 2 different colours of the Plus?
I've seen pluses that are yellowish and platinum. So
yeah.
Right. I thought the original 128K and the 512 fat were the same.
They are. Those 2 are the same, but not the Plus. Not the
Plus. My Plus is looks way brighter. I'm just wondering if it's original colour or not. So
I thought they came in 2 colours.
Yeah, I think the earlier ones were the same.
Yeah.
And perhaps the later ones, probably made in Malaysia or Singapore, I should say, were probably the lighter colour.
Yeah, well, the CRT took a bit of adjustment, so I fiddled with all the pots and whatnot, and that came up perfect. I don't think it's been used a heap. There's no burning or anything. So yeah, it's amazing how clear the original CRT is on that thing. So pretty happy about that. So I just got to find out how to get software onto floppy disks. Someone's upgraded the floppy drive to 800K, so that's good.
Handy.
Same CRT as the Apple IIc.
Yeah, I heard that. Like,
they're interchangeable.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, the tubes.
Huh.
Yeah. Fun fact.
that means that the green 2C screen can go into a Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mac's
why you want to do that, but
why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
That'd be weird as.
It would.
Or put a Mac screen in a 2C, and that way you've got a white display on your 2C.
Oh, yeah, my 2C's dead as well. So,
interesting.
How dead is it? Yeah, no, it's character corruption. Yeah, so it's probably just a ROM chip, like a RAM chip.
Might also be. I know mine one. I had a friend look at it ages ago when I originally acquired it, and it was like just have to reseat it. Might just be a case of pulling it open, just reseating the chips.
I think none of them are socketed in mine.
The early 2C, most of it's soldered directly, but it's always RAM with those ones.
Yeah, 4164 RAM.
So yeah, like my stuff in Tassie, I've probably got a third of what I've got in Melbourne, but there's quite a few projects that I'll be bringing up. I've got a Mac Classic, which is, I kind of got it off the guy and I just sort of put it in a cupboard and just like ignored that it exists because they've been sitting a screen up for decades, and underneath it, it's all just rusted and just corrosion just coming out of all the ports. I was like, yeah, I just pretend that doesn't exist because like obviously it's completely and utterly devastated inside. So I'll post a photo of that when I take it apart because that's going to be ugly. Got some LCs that don't work, but apparently they're all surface mount caps as well. That are pretty much always dead as far as I read. Is that right?
Yeah.
LCs? Yeah.
The power supplies too, probably.
Oh, it's probably everything. So yeah, I think that was the period of crappy caps.
Yeah, all those LCs and the Mac Classics, They must have
Oh.
been the shittiest.
Oh, yeah.
The worst
and the
ones.
SEs.
What was that?
Which one?
And the SEs as well.
Yeah, but the absolute worst is the 2SI. If
I've
you've
got
got
one
a
of them
2SI power supply that hasn't got green connectors on it, it's rare.
Apple
Yeah.
probably loves them.
They
probably
just
thought they were
leaked and went all the way down the cable.
They probably thought these caps were their best decision they ever made in the beige Apple lineup. Right at the time that the iMac was released, they all started
Yeah.
failing, and people
Time for upgrade.
time for an upgrade, and that's
Yeah, like, I don't know, like there's nothing visibly wrong with it, like on the motherboard, so there's nothing obviously leaking or anything, but I just assumed all the Surface Mount ones and
they
stuff.
will.
And you'll have just gone through a time warp, and that there was some point in the 90s to the early 2000s where people just couldn't design a capacitor to save themselves. Even like I was saying, the ATX motherboards I get, you know, they have bulging capacitors all over the place. They're just gone too cheap on them.
The plastic on the LC too, when you go to take the lid off.
Oh yeah, they break.
Beautiful surface. The handles will come off in your hand because the
Plastic is so brittle.
Oh, so brittle.
Well, this is stuff I got off an old school of mine. So, they just had random stuff. They used to have amazing stuff, but they got rid of it all. But I'll take photos actually because I got a really cool old IBM hard drive, bunch of punch cards, like one of those big platter hard drives. So that's pretty cool. I don't have any. That's the oldest thing I've got. Got some 1950s 60s punch cards, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, the other thing I'm going to fix is my Vectrex, which works. Like this is, you had the same weird issue.
Yeah, it works. It's perfect now. Perfect.
Yeah, but mine. Okay, so mine, when you turn it on, it does what yours was doing, and just draws a little mini version in the corner, right? And then after like a couple of minutes, it'll just go, and then it's fine. It's a really cool effect. Obviously, something needs to be warmed up. But the super weird thing, and see if you can figure this out. You know, when you turn a Vectrex on, it goes dun 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 dun.
That's Mindstorm. No. It goes and then little stars go around and it says Vectrex, and then it plays Mindstorm.
But the timing is correct on all those notes and Mindstorm notes, but the notes are wrong until it warms up. So it goes dun 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 beep boop. Completely random every time.
Oh, it's funny you say that because
then it warms up, and then the notes are back to normal.
I've got two Vectrexes. One of them is perfect, and the other one does exactly what you've said. And the one that does exactly what you said, I recapped it, and it's still no better.
Oh, really? I just assumed it's probably some cap thing.
I recapped it. It's no better. So I don't know what the go is.
That's super weird. Like it's digital, right? Like it's an FM chip.
You know,
there's got to be some analogy thing going on there that's choosing the notes.
Oh, you need to buy that game I bought for the Vectrex. It's Vector Patrol. It's Moon Patrol for the Vectrex. It is awesome. Unbelievable. €50. It's a brand. Well, it's not brand new. It's a homebrew game. Unbelievable. It is so good. You guys are probably saying €50. Yeah. But he's made like 25 of the things, and they're cartridges in proper packages. I'll go get it. I'll be right back.
Awesome. Yeah.
I bought a bunch of homebrew releases for like the C64 and stuff, so I'm used to paying that kind of stuff. So that's.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it costs a lot to make up brand new cartridges from scratch. You know.
Yeah, most of it's like getting all the EEPROM and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
and the packaging as well. Yeah,
and there's the cartridge, and has
it got an overlay though?
No, unfortunately, he sold out of overlays. But I've just ordered his other two games, and they come with overlays.
Yep. I don't know where you go to make this stuff, but it's cool that people are still doing it.
Yeah.
I want to get Thrust though. Like Thrust is like the natural, you know, the Vectrex is naturally designed for Thrust, but I don't think they ever made an official version of it, which is bizarre.
Oh, it was only like maybe
I know there's a homebrew version, but like I want a real cartridge.
Yeah.
What was that, Rob?
Oh, just about the about Cam's comment about thrust just being only as the ROM rather than actual physical cart.
Yeah, I bought the multi-cart, some dude's multi-cart that's stuck in Dandenong South right now at the post office. But it's got 256 games on it. The reason why I bought it is I want to see Tempest on the Victrix. And there's a demo of Tempest on it. I mean that Victrix is what Tempest should be on, and I can't believe they haven't got it. Yeah.
If we ever have PAX again, I might run the Doom port.
For the Doom for the Victrix, yeah.
So they're cheating. They're running a PC to generate the geometry and using the Victrix and driving the Victrix display directly. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone picks up that Victrixes can't really do that, right? Like they can't actually play Doom. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, that's about it. Like I think all the other more bonus. Oh, one cool thing is the school. The guy found the original Atari ST that I used to use in 1991 to write music on Cubase at my school. And he goes, "Yeah, we found that. Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Atari ST that I used. And apparently one of the guys still has the original Yamaha synthesizer that I used to use. So I'll get the band back together. Put it all up. That'd be awesome.
Very good. Rob, what have you been doing?
So yeah, not really much this month. The only big thing of interest is I talked about last month. I got the SC3000, and I did get a trio of games for it.
I don't see basic there.
I have a basic cartridge that is somewhere between the UK and Australia at the moment.
Oh, good.
The tracking it doesn't have tracking, so it's somewhere between the UK and Australia.
In transit.
In transit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, I haven't done much this month. Like I got those, haven't had a chance to sit down with them. Got the memory kit after virtually a month from Ian. I haven't had a chance to stick that in my Coco yet, so I'm hoping to try and catch up on some of that stuff this month and rotate some things through. It's been extracurricular things that aren't vintage computing related.
Do you have the joystick for the? That's what I really want for the SC.
I've just been using my Master System control stick. I am not a big fan of the Master System pad, and I don't know whether a Mega Drive pad would work successfully because I know that's like works for most Master System games, but glitches up on some others. So
I think Mega Drive controller is wired differently. I think you can bust a couple of specific models of old computer if you plug a Mega Drive code.
Definitely on a C64.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Possibly, I think maybe Amiga, and I know there's adapters to let you use them on the MSXs.
If you hold down certain combination of buttons, it does it.
Yeah, it sort of pushes the lines floating or something.
Yeah.
Very good. So you've actually been working, Rob.
So last month for me was PAX Online, and last week was Melbourne Games Week. So I was in a lot of conferences and stuff. So not working. I mean, I've applied for a couple of jobs. I haven't heard back from one of them, so I'm guessing that one's probably a no-go. And I'm going to try and at least find one or two others. And some of the stuff I've been doing for the channel's just been a bit busy as well. So I've finally made plans to just pull back from my lockdown plan of do all the things weekly and now space things out again, because just been feeling a bit drained from that as well, and ongoing lockdown waits and whatever.
Did you apply for the Hipster Whale position?
I applied for them earlier in the year and got knocked back, so not worth applying for them again.
Yeah, so do I.
Also, really good friend of mine, had a really bad time there. So
interesting. I thought they'd be really cool to work for.
But yeah,
I guess they're big
pretty
enough.
bad. I knew my friend didn't have the best of times there, but yeah, what she was telling me was it was pretty heavy. So yeah.
Yeah, I suppose they're quite big now, so it might be all not quite so personal anymore.
Yeah.
Feel free to take a look at Amazon.jobs. If you find something that you like, let me know. I'd be happy to put you in touch with the hiring manager. We've also got game studios. We haven't got a great track record with games, but we are trying.
Yeah, I'm not really in a position to want to relocate right now. So even
I don't think that's a big option either. We've got a lot of international jobs and Australian jobs as well.
I'll have a look.
Great. Right. Andrew, what have you been doing?
Let me just put back to normal video here. Where's the background settings? How do you turn it off again?
Virtual.
There we go. So you should be able to see this. This is a disc controller for the VZ. Now this one's got no ROM in it at the moment. I don't know what this issue. I had a last year I bought or it was the year before I think. I bought a couple of disk drives from a guy down in Geelong, or just outside of Geelong. I hadn't seen them for sale on eBay for like years, and because it was pickup only, it didn't get too high. So I went down there and picked them up. But I didn't have controllers that were working, and I didn't have power supplies for them either. So I bought these online. These are this power supply here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably not. Anyway, you need 12 volt and 5 volt as the power supply for the disk drive. And then I needed some controllers that worked. The other one I had of these was faulty. But see this inductor here? That often just comes loose off the board. So I was able to just rewire that and get one working. So some guy in New South Wales, was it, bought it off me. So he's now got a working controller, power supply, and disk drive that I hadn't got around to do anything with for a while.
Cool.
So yeah, I've just got to fix up another one, then I can sell another drive off to someone who wants it.
Did they release any commercial software for disk on the VZ?
Yeah, there was four packs of software. That was like, mixed games. Plus there was some other bits and pieces that are released on disc. I can't remember exactly what at the moment, not off the top of my head, but they did. But it was more. There's more people save their games to disc or whatever to speed it up, because the tape drive's obviously pretty slow. So. And I don't know, I'd been digging around with magazines. You probably saw my post of a few magazines I found.
Yeah, the other one of that Just magazine would be interesting to scan, because it's an intriguing magazine. It looks like there was a dispute, because in the issue that I scanned, there were two editors. One was in New Zealand and one was in Australia, and one of them disassociated the other one in that issue that I scanned. I read it and I'm like, ooh.
Really?
Yeah, so you'll have to flick through it, because I want to know if the magazine that you've got is before or after that issue, because a bit of controversy there.
I can't remember where I put them now, but yeah, they're around here somewhere.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad magazine, I gotta say. Not terrible. I don't know what happened to it, but it didn't last very long from what I can gather.
It seemed like they had taken some writing from some other magazines and incorporated it, from what I could tell.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. But they have a lot of good quality.
There was a review of various computers in there. None of them, the micro-B wasn't even included, whereas it should have been. But the interesting thing, though, is it says right on the front cover, Australasia's largest circulation computer magazine.
Yeah, and I'd never heard of it.
And I'd never heard of it.
No one had ever heard of it, probably. Well, not no one, but
Yeah, there was a nice micro-B ad in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Australia's largest circulation computer magazine.
Yeah.
Well, they must have been giving it away for free, were they?
I gotta find that ad now that says that guy's out. There was a really nice ad for a Tandy 1000. Check that out. There's a good bit of kit. The reviews of the machines that were in here were really obscure. Like Ericsson released a PC. It's like, who cares?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's stuff that's obviously, a lot of it's not available here in Australia. They've got it from the UK or the US or somewhere. yeah, which is fine, but to then say it's an Australian magazine.
Yeah. And anything else, Andrew?
I think that's about it for now. I've been updating my website slowly, but you know, that takes time.
You have a website?
Oh yeah, I do.
I'll have to have a look.
There's two parts of the website. There's the part I've done, but there's another guy in the VZ group who has a section. Well, he's got his own section on my website, and he's been doing a lot of work on that.
Okay.
Including releasing 1800 software programs in VZ format.
Oh, cool.
Which is also shared with the group. So that's a lot of software to go through and work out what it all is.
Cool. So, Alan, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've borrowed Ewan's little Wi-Fi unit. Maybe I should grab it and show you guys.
Gravy out of microbeads.
I'm wondering what the Wi-Fi unit is. Is it for a microbee to connect to the
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. It's like a Wi-Fi 232 for microbee.
Yeah, so I plug that in and I can log into a bulletin board. He's modified Telcom, which is the communication program that all microbees come with, for the VT100 graphics. And yeah, I can log in via Telnet, or you fire it up, do a bit of setup, log into your Wi-Fi, your home Wi-Fi unit, and then dial into wherever you want to dial into.
Is this a released product or is this a prototype?
He hasn't released it yet. He did mention it about, unfortunately, he's not here, so I can say. He comes forward with, I'm going to bring this out and bring that out, and a year can go by before you actually see it.
Okay.
So no, he's very slow with this one, but I've borrowed it. It's working 90%. Some of the graphics is still not quite right. But no, it's all good fun. I've also, I've had an S100 system here for quite some time, and I've really forgotten all about it. I eventually got it out. Yeah, it's an early microbee or applied technology unit. It's got the 6850 processor on board. It's got the DGZ80 video card on board as well. There's a serial keyboard. I have no idea how I'm ever going to use it or even try it, but I'll. That's down the big long list. But I'll need to photograph it all, and I'll read the ROMs and all that sort of stuff. So, and I'm getting my 56K system hopefully up and running shortly. I've had a couple of drives given to me. I've had an old controller card. I've got the original box, little original case. I just grabbed a 56K microbee. I'm just about to burn out a new ROM for it. Connect all that up. And also waiting from Ewan is a microbee keyboard kit. As everyone knows, microbee keys die. This is a kit. It'll go in a premium, or basically going to replace your keys in any microbee. Using the same keys that he used in the Premium Plus that he brought out 7 or 8 years ago. Use your own keycaps, and you fit it in.
Cool.
So I'm all ready and waiting for my 128k overdrive premium. And I'm hoping this week he's already put them into a couple of units. It's working well. So this bloody 4k or 5k travel restriction is holding me back.
Pain in the butt.
Oh, boy, is it ever. So, and he posted that little Wi-Fi, this little thing he posted, it took 10 days to get from Muralbark to here.
Yeah.
10 days is good.
That was quick.
So, I don't really want him to send it. So I'll get him to send it express. They work quick if you send them express.
9 days.
Yeah,
9 days. So yeah, I've taken all the keys out of of a premium unit. So I'm ready and waiting for the keyboard to put in.
Cool.
Other than that, I've finished most of my scanning, I think. I found, onto networking stuff, you can got about one called Koala Land.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
Well,
Sounds Australian anyway.
it's Australian, and I've even got the disc. So
It's still a better name than cluster adapter.
Yes.
So I've scanned the manual. I've just got to read the disc, and and I'll make that available somewhere. I'll put that up on archive.org. I've put a few other bits and pieces up there of late. I haven't announced them. I've just put them up. Anyone just wants to keep going, having an odd look once every now and then, you'll see all the stuff that I keep adding in there.
Yeah, some good stuff there, Al.
Yeah, well, I've run out of the magazines, Your Computers and APCs and so on. I've done everything that I've got.
I've got a long way to go.
You've got a long way to go, and no, it's been good, and you've been filling a few of the gaps, which is great.
Well, what's great is you've actually been doing the hard work. I just do the small gap.
Well, no, but that completes, years worth of stuff, and that's great.
I've got some of those magazines as well, but I'm just waiting for everyone else to.
Well, I've finished, and I can send you a spreadsheet of what I've got and what's missing.
I was waiting for you, Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
occupation for me. The scanning is one of those things that's going to be put back till I retire, I think. But anyway.
Well, if you really want some scanning done, I can do the scanning. That's not the issue, but it's bloody getting it to me. I can't get to you. And to send it via post is
slow too.
Well, not only slow, it's also expensive.
Costly.
Because they're bloody heavy little buggers.
Yeah.
And a box of manuals is quite a few dollars worth just to send it to Courier up.
Yeah. Well, Alan King's keen to see how many people are going to return to his computer swap meets. Alan's the guy who runs the Bandura swap meet. So
Okay.
I think he's kind of geeing himself up for when the green light's given here to get those things back up and running as quickly as possible. He must be hurting with not being able to run these things for 9 months now or something. So
Yeah, absolutely.
as soon as he
was
gets
offering a discount or somebody thing though, wasn't he? You mentioned last time we were there.
I'm gonna sound a little bit awful here, but with all this community transmission, I don't mind actually going there with you guys, but I don't know. With
everyone else?
I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm all really sort of nervous now.
Well, you've now got to sit behind the counter instead of in front of it.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll put on a full
and put a big perspex up.
We need those shields as well, like the shields you get in the supermarket.
We need a cone of silence.
Yes.
That's smart.
I'm I'm just going to take Donald Trump's cocktail of
Regeneron.
Regeneron.
Wear a mask there.
And a bit of bleach.
All at the same time.
I don't think it's going to happen this year.
No, I'm not planning anything for this year, unfortunately. But
Like we may have some lockdown, some of the lockdown things removed, and we can have gatherings of 20 or 30 people, but to have public things like that open, as Anthony's saying, general public coming through, I'd be a little bit sus. We're down here in Lang Lang, and same as at Cooey Rup, we're pretty clean down here.
We could have like a Lang Lang Cooey Rup computer.
Yeah. Well, I used to have a computer club meeting here once a month, and guys did come down from Springvale and Morty Alley, etc. We'd all meet in the lounge room. But
we're still doing that here, which is lucky because we don't have the distance limit.
Yeah, well, we never then, but anyhow, I've finished that about 3 or 4 years ago. Anyhow.
Meanwhile, in Texas, we're getting 4,000 and 5,000 new cases a day, and everything's nearly back to normal. So, nothing to see here.
Hey,
I like you got the fire there, like the this is okay. What's that meme with the dog?
Yeah.
Pat, what are you up to? What have you been doing the last 30 days?
Working my ass off, but I'm in the last month of my financial year at the moment, so things are a bit busy. I've got
He's gonna grab himself a beer.
I managed to
Which
pick
one?
up some. I managed to pick up some pet keyboards that I'm thinking about hooking up to mini pet and building some sort of monstrosity. But
where'd you get the pet keyboards from?
Our friends at eBay.
Dead pets.
I just I saw them one morning when I got up and nabbed them, like pretty much as soon as I saw them. I was just like, I'll take those.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get, having looked at all these different options around the mini pet, they haven't been wonderful options. What else? I got this is probably not of interest to most people.
Oh, cool. Or what's that? The Atmos.
Yeah, the Atmos. 48K. Yeah.
It's amazing what's behind that bar.
I was about to say, this is a great bar.
And then, actually, I was talking to you about this about a month ago, Anthony, but I got also...
Oh, Memotech.
Damn.
Yeah. So I've got that with a flash card. So I'm just going to play with that a little bit and see how that goes.
Are you gonna do a weird science and get yourself the ultimate woman?
It's worth a go.
It's funny. I just watched that the other day while I was at work. I thought, I haven't watched that in ages, and I was pausing the to work out what the computer was, and then I had a look online. I'm like, they're pretty expensive to buy these days, and rare.
How expensive are they, Stuart?
Look, I don't know the exact.
Yes, expensive or
what's that? Oh, well, look, and I had a quick look, and I didn't seem to find much, but I seen some that sold, and I reckon they'd probably $500, $600, $700, $800 or something like that.
It's no Apple 2GS.
Yeah, 3GS.
But there wasn't like a heap of them listed, so yeah. Interesting. I thought as soon as you watch these old shows, you think, I've got to buy one of those now.
Yeah, but I haven't had a lot of time to work on much. I've just been accumulating. I know the last time that we had this, Anthony, you said you were doing a bit of an Intellivision.
Yes.
Collection. How's that going?
I bought a lot.
How's that going? Because I think you said you had 61 carts last time out of.
It's there's so many in transit. There's so many. I would probably have about 40 cartridges on their way.
Right.
40 on their way.
Yeah, so So the original 125 are hard to get, guys. But I've also got some home brews as well. And yeah, as I mentioned before, Defender of the Crown for the Intellivision, unbelievable. It's as good as the Commodore 64 version. The graphics are a bit clunkier, but the gameplay is awesome. And you even got a little mouse cursor that you use with your Intellivision disc. So it's quite cool.
There's a homebrew guy that I follow who's doing Prince of Persia for the Intellivision. It looks amazing. He's sort of making it as we speak.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. There's some really good stuff coming out for that.
Actually, speaking of Prince of Persia, I found there was an app I got on my phone, on Android phone, which was Prince of Persia, and my kids were playing with it. And I said, come outside. And I had to play the the real version. I didn't have it on any media, so I just played it through archive.org, you know, how they do it through DOSBox and stuff. And yeah, my kids loved it. That was pretty cool. And then 10 minutes later, they're like, oh, this is too hard. And I've come on.
It is a damn brutal game. I've never really cleared like stage 2 properly.
Nah, it's pretty awesome. It's for the day.
That's really, I don't know if you guys are the same, but there's so many games that I just haven't finished.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There are like, I remember mentioning that like there's a bunch of games that I've done videos of that I never finished. I got most of the way through. And yeah, some of them are just like, there's difficulty spikes, there's time, there's just so many little things. So it's like, yeah.
There's skill,
yeah.
I've only ever finished Double Dragon, and that was when I was at RMIT on my apprenticeship back in 1987. We used to go on our lunch break to the cafe to play Double Dragon. I probably was about 1989 or something, and got to the point where my mate and I used to be able to get to the end and fight each other, and all these people would stack their coins up on there expecting to have a game. Oh, mate, forget it. The end. Yeah, no, it was good.
Triangle of coins.
Yeah, exactly.
Stacked up. Yep.
Yeah.
Which cafe was that? Was that the one that's kind of down below street level?
Well, this was building 56 and 57.
Okay, yep.
All of electrotechnology. I think it was,
It's not the Swanston Latrobe one then?
No, and funnily enough, it's Queen. Look, I can't remember the exact location. It's off Cardigan Street. And I actually had to go into work. Oh, this is months ago now. And while I went in early, because I don't work in the city, but I had to go into the city for something else. And I went in early because I thought I'll just have a wander through the building that I did my apprenticeship in. So I rocked up, and there was this and I'm turning 50 this year. So there's this woman, I don't know, she's like 20 or something. And she's like, oh, can I help you? I said, oh, I studied here 30 years ago. I just wanted to have a wander around. And she goes, oh, welcome back. I wandered through, and I looked through the doors of one of the rooms that I studied in, and the door was the same. Look, they've got all these facades there, but the door was the same and everything. And the chairs and stuff. I just looked in the metal rubbish bins, and I took a photo, and one of my colleagues at work did his electronic engineering course there as well. He goes, oh, I went in that same room. But I actually went there because I was hoping, I learned the Z80 when I was at RMIT, and I'm sure it's not a microprocessor, but it's some type of single board computer. And I was hoping to, I don't know, find somebody and say, have you got a cupboard full of these things? Because I wanted one. And I knocked on some door, and there's these young guys come out from the IT department, and they were just working on new stuff, and they just didn't seem to want to give me the time of day. But that was interesting. But anyway, bit off topic.
Brian Livingston would be worth poking. I don't think he's lecturing there anymore, but he was a bit of a collector and did a lot of stuff with PowerPC and things there. He was part of computer science there back in the day, up until maybe 6 or 7 years ago. But I'm sure he's got some good solid contacts.
Yeah, look, the thing is, it's obviously having one that was from the RMIT would be cool. But I mean, I've looked at all the Z80 micro professor type of things, and I'm like, it doesn't look the same as the one that I remember using. So I don't know which one it is, but maybe it's just my memory. But yeah. So anyway.
That Victor Patrol game does have an overlay. Whoever was asking, it's there in the back. I never even saw it was there. So
Why don't you power it up and show us then?
right.
He's probably thinking, "Oh, I thought nobody would ask."
Has anyone had a go? Speaking of arcade machines, has anyone had a go off an R360 from back in the day?
I remember seeing one. I remember seeing one back in the day, but I was too young to do it. And
Right, they had one in Queensland. And I had a go on it. So the greatest arcade machine ever made. Just look it up. Sega R360. When you've got a free chance, like moment on YouTube, it's epic. Like no one's going to make that sort of stuff anymore, and that's a shame.
yeah, I mean, I wish I could encounter one because I'd love to try it. I mean, I'm sure there's the high risk of vomitude, but
nah. But the weird thing about arcades is like now's the time to have those crazy cabinets because you know, like you can't outcompete consoles.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, and they just don't do it. So, all right. Here we go. Oh, overlay's going. Nice.
They'll let the smoke out.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't smoke up.
Yeah, put back get rid of that paperclip. Oh, I shouldn't have made it fun. I was already the stick in the mud was telling me in front of him.
You can't really see it. Actually, I'll take the overlay off so you can actually see the screen.
Oh, that's pretty
good. Scrolling.
So yeah, it's a scrolling. Look, there's the Moon Patrol vehicle.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Hang on. Yep. So you remember Moon Patrol?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
The sound sounds. What sound chip have they got? It sounds identical to the original.
It's AY3 8910 if memory serves.
Okay.
Yeah, same as Darius too.
Well, the graphics are unbelievable.
Oh, they've even got different intensities for the parallax levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oops.
That's really well done.
Yeah, it's well done. And I highly recommend supporting your local homebrewer who's over in Belgium.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah, more than your 5K limit at the moment, man. I think.
What was that, sorry?
A bit more than your 5K limit at the moment.
Yeah.
5K, 5,000 kilometres?
Yeah.
Probably still get there quicker than Melbourne to Melbourne, though.
Well, quicker than trying to post, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to share?
We're seeing we're sharing homebrew, so I'll show you my. It's very lame, but here's my homebrew Atari 2600 game.
Awesome!
Can you see that? So you see that was the cartridge, right? So that's my cartridge, right? So, and then all it does is
flash on and off.
Flash some lines. That's as much as I can do so far. Hey, I did it in assembly, so come on.
Got to start somewhere.
It's only about 128 bytes.
Don't worry, you're all having an epileptic fit here.
Did you program it with the Spectravision keyboard?
I put Pitfall on for inspiration.
You probably should have had the message come up saying for epilepsy warning.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'm trying to write text. That's as close as I've got so far, a few lines. So, and I'm not about to. I've just been hacking some of the homebrew ones. There's some homebrew demos and stuff for the Atari 2600, and I've tried to find the smallest one so that way I can disassemble it and actually see if I understand how it works. So
that's really, really cool.
What I want to do is I want to make a digital dash, right, for my 1976 Valiant Charger that I own, and so I can have a period correct computer dashboard, and it might only display like temperature and voltage and RPM or something like that, but it would be doable. I'll have to find a pretty small CRT, but I've got a lot of small CRTs I can use, so that would be something I would do, which and try to convince some people that it came out factory that way.
Don't they have your EFI systems, your Motex and things like that have digital dashes you can just plug in and?
Yeah, but they're not vintage.
Got to be CRT.
It's not. It's got to be period correct. I can't put something in the car that was made after the car. That's just.
You'll need another alternator to run the CRT, mate.
Well, by that logic, if it's a 76 Charger, it should have autometer gauges on the dash, not a CRT.
Yeah, I know, but I like electronic. Well, look, it actually has got automated gauges on it.
I know, I've got them on my RX too as well. But when I get completely sick of working on computers, I want to work on a car that has absolutely no electronics in it whatsoever. So my Mazda's got nothing but an enormous carburetor and fuel pump and points for the ignition, and there's nothing computerized in any
I'm
of
I'm in the same boat with a 76 HJ Kingswood, so yeah, it needs a lot of modern cons. Hey, with the Atari, have you tried out the Atari H, the cartridge to SD card adapter?
I haven't yet, and I think I might get one because it would be easier. I do like to do things the hard way, as in like back in the day, you'd have to use an EEPROM. Now, mind you, I'm using Stella as the emulator, so that's cheating. But look, I just put together. I just got a sacrificed some old cartridge that was some junk cartridge that didn't work, and it was I opened it and luckily enough it had an EEPROM in it, because I think some of them have got proms in them, and some of them they have a slightly different pin out to, like the 2732s can have a different pin out, some of the proms. So I found one that had an EEPROM in it, so that I just soldered a ZIF connector to it. So just to start with, I wanted the inspiration of like, okay, it works in the emulator, does it really work in the hardware? So I thought I'd better at least try it so I know I'm on the right track.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. While I'm talking, I'll give you an update of what I've been doing. So I haven't got anything much lately, but my IMSI, my IMSI there, 8080, that one, it's got some problems with it, with the power supply. You leave the thing on for a while and it just crashes, and I finally pulled it apart and put it on the oscilloscope the other day. So I've been working on that. Want to keep it period correct, so don't want to replace the capacitors with the power supplies, early 70s. The actual capacitors are about the size of a can, like a can of drink. Got to have a bit of a look through that. One of the other things, what I want to do is when you boot those things up, because they've got the switches on them, you got to actually, for it to do anything, you got to like load a program in. So Bill Gates wrote a bootloader. I think it was about 17 or 18 bytes or something. And all it did is it basically read from the serial port to load BASIC. So what I'm going to do instead, to be different, because I like to be different, is I'm going to program into one of these 80-column punch cards. And I've just recently bought off eBay, but haven't got it yet, a hand punch machine. So I can actually punch out the code. And what I want to make up, or buy if I can find them, but they're hard to find. The really early calculators, before microprocessors, actually used the punch cards as to store, you could store information on. Basically, you can have some photo detectors and a light source, and then you can read the data in. So I thought what I'd do instead is I'll make up, I got inspired by a guy that made a ROM for Atari 2600 out of diodes. So it was some demo of a couple of hundred bytes. So I thought to myself, well, how about I wire up a circuit to emulate RAM? So I'll make up a circuit that emulates 80 bytes of RAM. And that way I can actually put, when I actually put the card in the reader, which is a reader I'll make up, that will basically populate the first 80 bytes of RAM. So I'll be able to, that will be like my media. To boot up the system, I'll be able to put a card in. So I'm just wanting to, play with every piece of like media technology from day one. And I suppose from day one, the paper tape well, sorry, no, the punch card, and then there's the paper tape as well. So that's some bits and pieces. Otherwise, I've just been cleaning up, trying to sort some stuff around my little area. Yeah, that's about it for me. I've got a few things I bought on eBay which never arrived. I bought a PC, a TRS-80 PC1 pocket computer. You know, the one that looks like a calculator, but it's not a calculator. That arrived in Sydney about 2 months ago from America, and it never arrived, which is unfortunate. Yeah, otherwise, that's me.
It's still in Sydney, I'm assuming.
Well, it's the tracking information says it was in Sydney, and it just never left Sydney. And but it's been like in there for 2 months now, so I don't.
I had some stuff do that as well, but it was
It'll come.
Yeah.
for months.
Well, the thing is, there's 3 months. That I actually said, I thought to myself, you know what? After 3 months, you can't put a claim in. So I put a claim in to say it didn't get delivered, and I got refunded. But I messaged the guy and I said, if I get it, I'll pay you your money back. But I don't feel I should lose my money for something that I bought. And I didn't get it.
Fair enough.
So yeah, seeing I'm a bit addicted to eBay buying gadgets all the time. I'll show you something else I got a little while ago.
I think we can all say we are.
Yeah. Really?
You know, this is not vintage, but it's cool for vintage stuff. Similar. That's a little. It's from the old net, so it's a Wi-Fi modem. It's basically an ESP32 programmed with a 9-pin serial port on it. So I've just got a USB to serial adapter on it. But ideally, if I plug this into any old computer with serial port, then you can connect it to your Wi-Fi network, and then like one of the other guys said before, Alan, I think you've done the same type of thing.
Well, yeah, this is just a universal thing. It's nothing specific.
Well, this is universal as well, exactly. So
we're all holding up.
They all
probably got the same unit inside.
Yeah, exactly. So look,
No. Completely different. This has got an ESP32 in it.
Yeah, what is it?
I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
No, mine's got an A266. There you go. It's older.
Well, I'm not going to unscrew this one, to be quite honest, but all I can see there's a little circuit board in there about a 2-inch square. Yeah, other than that.
So
I understand it's pretty universal.
Some of them you set them up so what you do is if your old AT commands for your modems, you do AT, DT and a phone number to dial. These ones you can do like AT, DT, www dot, you know, my old.
Yeah, that's how this one works.
Yeah.
So AT, DT and you're putting www dot whatever the site is and hit enter and bingo. Next minute you're up and connected. But just prior to that, you've got to connect into your home Wi-Fi. Yeah, and that's and that's being built into more to the point the software that you're going to run.
Have you got yours going, Stuart?
Well, this works if I plug it into my PC. Just because it was easier, you know, USB to serial adapter. You got to power this with 5 volts, just a micro cable, and then I just connected it to my home Wi-Fi. And then use like a terminal program on my PC. But yeah, it definitely works. I mean, that's what it is. It's just that.
Yeah. The reason why I ask is my ones didn't like my old Wi-Fi base stations. It just wouldn't connect. But it liked the older, crappier ones. So if I've just updated my whole house with this new Netgear Orbi thing, and I'll have to try it now and see if these things work. But
this has got basic. Look, I could have worked it out myself, but why would I bother? I mean, it's like you can buy this board for like $20, and then that's a little $5 TTL RS232 to True RS232 adapter, and then the fancy software. Now, the software is not open source. The guy from the old net, I don't know if you guys heard it. Well, it's not going to focus up this because it's webcam, but yeah, the old net. And it's it works fine. Well, I'll probably connect it to one of my other devices, but I just saw it, and it was just late at night, and I was just going through eBay, and what can I buy?
Actually, David. So remember last time we had this session. Remember, I don't know if you know David, who he's done the IMSI recreation kit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he asked me if mine was real or not, and I said, "Yep."
well,
I said,
he's
I was inspired to buy mine from his kit.
well, he's just built a VT 132 kit, which basically is a standalone terminal that you can. So it's just a little board that that you can use PS2 keyboard input or USB input, one or the other, but you've got to configure it, and VGA output, and it has basically a serial out, but it also has options to configure. What did you just call it? ESP32. It basically
the ESP32 is sort of like an Arduino on steroids.
Yeah. So basically, this little tiny board thing is like a standalone Wi-Fi terminal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the way that he's designed the board, it actually it's using Visa standard as a mount, so you can actually stick it on the back of a monitor.
Okay.
And turn a monitor into a terminal, which I think is very, very cool. I was talking to him about one of his old designs, and I was like, I don't have the multi-board setup that was required to do it, but now he's got the standalone, and he's just finishing the beta testing around it. But I think I'm going to buy a few of them actually.
Well, I actually bought this device as well. And this is it's got a VGA connector on it. It's got an ESP32 on it. It's got a keyboard and a mouse, and it's called a ESP VGA. I just bought it to play around with it. The fact that it's got the Wi-Fi chip on it too, then effectively this could do exactly what you're talking about. However, you need to write the software yourself, right? You turn the thing on and it's got a game in it or something, but it's basically a complete computer. But I like old stuff, but if I'm mucking around with this stuff, I hate the fact that when they force you to use PS2, it's just much nicer to, if you've got the USB keyboard, it means you can use your Logitech wireless or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So his does support USB as well.
Yeah,
but you've got to kind of, it's one of those things that you got to wire up, whether it's going to be USB or whether it's going to be USB.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little versatile board. He's put a lot of thought into it. Actually, on the terminal discussion, this is probably considered useless by most of you guys, I would suspect. But actually,
not be surprised.
So better in this group.
I love terminals, but I got this little.
Oh no, this isn't what I think it is. Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
So so it's a little it's basically a little mini portable teletype. And it uses you don't need ink for it because it uses fax paper.
I've got one of those that's got an acoustic coupler built into it.
Yeah, so I've got both versions. I've got the acoustic. I've got one that's got the acoustic coupler, and I've got one. This one that I just showed you is just a RS-232 terminal, but I've got another one. Basically, it looks very similar, but it's got an acoustic coupler built into it. So
the one I've got, which is acoustic coupler, it's a sort of a it probably needs retro brighting. It's sort of that yellowy sort of brown color, but it's actually got a fairly small screen and a printer like a receipt printer. But I think it was designed for hearing impaired people, so they could type a message, and then someone at the other end could have it, so they could have a conversation. But yeah, and it's I think it's got the Silent 70 or something like that. But it's
that'd be the
Texas Instruments.
Yeah, TI N700 Silent Writer. That's got the carbon paper and the acoustic coupler built in. I got one of those.
Yeah, this one's not. This one must be made by somebody else because it's not Texas Instruments. It's a different brand.
Okay.
But it is similar. So I got that. I googled the chip that's in it, the processor. I have no idea what the processor is. It's just what happened? This is the top result. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Oh.
I think your smart assistant picked up.
All of a sudden, I wasn't talking to you, Google. Be quiet. You're too new to be involved in this group. So mine's are different. It's silent. It's called a silent something. But yeah, look, I'm a bit of a. I like the terminals as well, but I think my terminal will be my terminal of preference, only because of the size of it, would be, except it's not 80 columns, which is a pain, which is one of these, you know, TRS-80 Model 100s. It's a nice little device. But I've got a couple of DEC VT100 compatible terminals as well, probably about 4 or 5 of them that I was given and didn't want them to go to the bin, so I've got more than I need. So if someone, once we're out of lockdown one day, needs a VT100 compatible terminal, I've got a few of those kicking about. They just take up a bit of space though. Obviously, if you've got a screen to use, what I was hoping to do was actually modify the by using a composite monitor or that I've got for other bits and pieces, or a TV. If I can get the output of the terminal to be, if it's composite, or if I can make it composite, I could potentially just use the guts of the terminal and have, otherwise you've got too many screens.
Oh.
What do you got there, Pat? What's that one?
So that is a DEC VT525. I don't know if you can see it very well, sorry. That's,
yeah.
But that is basically what we were describing before, which is PS2 input and VGA output, basically. But it's a terminal without having a terminal.
Yeah, I used to work where I work when I first started back in 87. Even though 1987 was well and truly into PCs and stuff, we used to import a lot of terminals, computer terminals, and some of them were, you know, the Visual Technologies was the brand. I got pretty excited because that's towards the end they had those X terminals where they were still a terminal, but they could do graphics and stuff. And some of the other some of them, there's Tektronix 4010, 4014 emulation, where what they'd do is on a mainframe or mini, they would send escape sequences to your terminal, and you could actually draw graphics. So you get a bit like your, well, it's a CRT, you know. So it's a scan lining, you know, it's not vector display, but you would basically send sort of vector type of coordinates to it, draw
Right.
here to here. And I
That's a graphics terminal, yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. And I don't have any, but the keyboards, this keyboard's off my K Pro, which is like, you know, made out of metal or aluminium. But the keyboards that these things had on those, the early terminals were like monstrosities.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all space, and I haven't got heaps of space. I'm just in my garage, and I've got a little room sort of cordoned off so I can put the heater on. And so nothing in the house. I haven't got enough room in the house for too much junk. So kids and wife are taking up all the other rooms of the house. So
no room for terminals.
Different junk.
Well, actually, my Charger's got a couple on the back seat. It's full of junk at the moment. With this whole lockdown stuff, it's been used as a bit of a storage bin at the moment. So I need to put that out. It's just a bit annoying. But yeah, I have to maybe cull some bits and pieces.
Yeah, Stuart, that device you showed us earlier with the PS2 ports on it, was that TT Go branded?
Yes, TT Go, correct, yes. You got one?
Yeah, I bought one recently. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I've powered it up and it had, I haven't done anything with it yet, but look at, I don't know, it just looked like some fun. So
yeah, potentially it's got the capacity to emulate a Z80 based computer in it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's actually what I have bought too. That reminded me is I bought a terminal. I'll get a picture of it on my phone. Now, I haven't got it yet, but it's going to come in whenever it comes in. It's an old FPOS machine, and they've got a Z80 inside them.
You're talking about those old like ANZ credit card swipe units.
I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah. So, yeah, and somebody has actually like reverse engineered them and actually run like CPM on them.
Yep. Another one. I saw the video. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I just got one, and it was it's going to cost me $50 including freight. So I thought, what the heck, you know what I mean? And so I'll show you a picture of it for those that don't know. So come on. So it's probably going to be about, that sort of wide. So that's.
Yep.
So you can swipe your card down, and I thought, well, magnetic media, I might be able to like put a program on it, you know what I mean? And it's got a display on it, multiple serial ports and so forth. So I'll show you the other bit that I got, which I haven't got in yet. So the card, the punch device for the 80 column punch card. Is this device here? All right. So what happens is you actually you slide the card into it. Is it going to have a picture of that open? No, but yeah, basically it's got all these wheels inside them, and on the side you put whatever you want to punch, and there's all these wheels, and when they get to the right position and you push the button, it pushes the hole in the card. So you can basically on the side wind, if you wanted to say hello, you go H and you press punch, and then there's a ratchet mechanism and it clicks across one. So the card will just ratchet across one. So it's fully mechanical. I wanted the IBM one, but they're like about $2,000. So I thought I'd get the after the non-IBM branded ones from the 70s, and it's got that blue color too that matches my IMSI and my K Pro. So that's pretty cool as well. It seems to be pretty common, that sort of dark sort of blue color. Yeah.
Cool.
I should just look at my eBay listing of what I bought. I've probably got more things I can talk about.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. I think all of us have got horrendous lists.
All right. Okay. One more thing. So I haven't for my Atari portfolio, because I got Atari portfolio. I got myself a serial adapter for that, which I haven't got yet. So I ultimately want to get all my bits and pieces and just have them talk to each other, just for, even if it just sends hello world around a big string, you know what I mean, or something like that. And I got myself a nice vintage EEPROM programmer, because, as I said before, I like to do things. I like to
hard way.
Correct.
Oh, cool.
So that's I haven't got it yet, but that's and of course, you know, you're going to open the thing up and it's going to be running a Z80 or a 6502 or something like that. So
where did you buy that from?
Just from eBay.
Yeah, but
Australia or
Australia, UK?
Hang on, I'll tell you.
It's forgotten.
I think I saw one similar ages ago.
It was in US dollars. I think it was.
Okay.
I don't bother looking. You know, it was only I got it for $20 US, right? And plus freight, and the freight wasn't too bad. So in total, it's going to cost me about $70. So I was pretty happy. It says it's 4 parts or not working. Now, okay, but I mean, you know, let's face it. We all know most of this stuff. Sometimes it says not working. If you look at the seller and and he says, "Oh, I don't know how to test it," and they've got 1,000 items, you think, you know, you do. You're just putting that in there because you don't want to say it's stuffed. But I mean, it's, you know, more often than not, you get a unit. My K Pro unit that I bought, you guys know what a K Pro is?
Yeah.
So I bought a K Pro without a keyboard, and then I thought, I'll make a keyboard because it's just an ASCII keyboard. And then I found a keyboard on eBay and I bought it. And when I got it back, it must have been sitting in water, because when I opened it up, it was completely rusted out. And I messaged the guy and I said, "This is like, you said it's been tested working." And he said, "Well, it was, but it's been in storage for years. Sorry." And he fully refunded me, including the
That's
global.
20 years ago.
Yeah, so he fully
It was working when it came out of the factory.
Yeah. So he fully refunded me for the keyboard, including global shipping. Well, I got and then I found one that said for parts only, right? A whole K Pro, and that worked. I got it. It was 110 volts. I had a look at the switch mode. There was a jump I could change for 240. It completely worked. It didn't have a burnt screen. It was like, it has a horrible foam and fall keyboard. So I've swapped a few. I've got a kit. I just haven't done it yet. I re-kitted my I've got a K Pro luggable. I like my luggables. I redid that foam and fall kit, but it's a pain in the ass if anyone's done it. It just takes so long, and I just haven't got around to doing it. So there's a couple of keys on the K Pro that don't work, but so I managed to get a whole unit that apparently didn't work, and it worked perfectly. So there's just some drives. I've got one 5¼ inch drive in it full height, and the other one's half height. And I've got about 3 or 4 full height drives, but only one works. And it just looks a bit wrong. It's got
Doesn't
the
the foam just totally disintegrate when you open it?
what's that? Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Yes. So I'm making up a. Let me see if I can find it to show you. So what I wanted to do is, because I like me. Well, we all like 8-bit micros, I guess. But I want to use make myself a miniature computer, like my own little microcontroller. So I found this nice leather case. It actually had a Bible in it, and I gave it to, I'm not religious myself, I gave it to a guy at work. So I'm making this little board up. So far what I did is I sacrificed, from my dead keyboard, the key switches. So I'm calling it Edna, so EDNA. So that's, so if any of you guys are familiar with how you program like an IMSI or an Altair, you got to like examine memory, and that's to read, and deposit is write. And if you want to write it again, you might say next. So I managed to align the keys on here. So I thought in this case, I'll make it so I can clear S. So I figured I've sort of got a bit of a reuse. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to put some reed switches on the back and magnets and make it. So I'm planning to put in there, actually, in that case, I'm going to have an interface for a micro cassette. So that's one of those little dictaphone sort of cassettes. That's from the 60s. So my idea is that will fit. I'll have a computer that will fit in a little case here. And in between, I'll have enough room to use probably an Intel 8085, which was one of their CPUs that had a built-in serial port, and another couple of I/O chips. So I'm going to see if I can make something from the 70s that will fit in a small case like this. And I think I can do it. I've done the research. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. So that's another one of my multiple projects I start and then start another one and get there. So
Just going back to the FPOS machine, I just got me curious, and I've got a bunch of clicky-clacks which are completely manual, so no chips in them.
Yeah.
And they've got a faceplate like this one's a Jalapeno distributor in Alpine Village. And I found these two. I bought these about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago when I was living in Seattle. These two are from Computer Reset, ironically. So
wow,
did not even know Computer Reset existed back then when I got these. So it's just a bit of a coincidence. But yeah, so they would have used these for the credit card imprint before.
I've just got an idea now by looking at that, because if I want to read my 80-column card, I could move the thing across. And
yes, that's right.
Just modify it, because basically, because the machines you can get to, if you want to read and write an 80-column punch card, the original IBM machines, they're the size of a big desk.
Tank.
So there's devices that basically are a bit like, if I just use my phone, you open it up and you put the card in and you close it. And basically what it has is these little pins coming out, like spring-loaded pins. And if there's a hole in the paper, when you close it, it makes contact. And it reads it. And they were using them in the early, so the Intel 8008 was originally designed to be used in a calculator, and they didn't get it out in time. So they ended up just, it ended up being in a calculator, but they had the rights to still use it as a CPU. But before they had CPUs in calculators, and now they've got a calculator on a chip, they had discrete logics, and some of the calculators they had were just massive. Like there was a briefcase and this and that, and I just recently saw that, and I thought, good, I'll buy myself one of those. And of course, they're like, I cannot find anywhere for sale, no matter how much money. So I'm thinking, well, I'll try to make something up to read the card. It would be nice to have something like, I like to have a Frankenstein computer. So if I get a reader for a calculator, I'll be able to read that and use that as
use a shitty flatbed scanner.
Yeah, but that's not period correct.
Handheld scanner?
Get a pianola. There you go.
Is it the pogo pins they used?
Some of my friends tell me I'm my own worst nightmare, because it's got to be period correct. So if I make something, it's, when I say period correct, if I'm going to connect something up to my IMSI, well, then it better be you know, it probably needs to be older.
One of those hand scanners. I've got one of those for you.
Yeah.
Sure, there's older
Yeah.
ones.
So no, I look. Believe me, I've looked at that. What was that? What was? Look, you could obviously you could have some software with a camera and scan it and work this sort of stuff out. So you could use new and old technology. So, but yeah, I think 80 bytes is enough for a bootloader or a couple of different bootloaders to run a program, and then that bootloader might, you know, load off a floppy or load off my reel-to-reel player or something else. But yeah, now I've got ideas now with the. So you're collecting acoustic couplers and credit card clack things, eh?
The collecting collects, I just come across those. I did a lot of IT security for banks. I was at NAB, ANZ, and CBA across about 10 or 12 years. And I thought, you know what, I'd love a couple of clickety collects. Like they're computer related, but no, I don't collect them. Those 4 are enough to last me a lifetime.
Once you've got more than 3, it's a collection now.
I was going to say, I hate to,
You've got like
hate to
4 or
know
5.
how many you have if you do collect them.
All right,
That's pretty cool.
I'm going to wrap this up. So you guys can keep talking, but I have to bail. So I'm going to hit end, but I'm going to keep the meeting going for anyone who wants to continue talking. So I will see you guys next time.